How to stop being awkward around women. Let's go through this full guide together. First of all, respect to you because you chose to click on this educational guide instead of all of the short clickbait videos out there. So you have my respect for that because you've got a very good attention span, and that means you'll definitely watch all of this video without scrolling down to the comments, and you'll drive up the YouTube algorithm for me, won't you? Why should you listen to me on this topic? Well, I went from being so awkward around girls that I'd jump if they touched me to now feeling pretty confident. And that's a true story. Around this point when I was maybe 15 years old, I was around 15, 16, even though I still look like a boy. I went out with some friends from my high school, and we were stood outside of this cinema. Like we weren't like out, you know, like drinking or anything, but we just kind of like stood outside of this cinema, and it was like 3 of my male friends, and they had invited like 3 females, like female friends of theirs to come. And we stood around, and this one girl next to me, she touches my neck because I had jewelry like this on. And basically it was kind of like how this has happened here, where see this thing, this is like quite low down. Usually you want to have your jewelry with that little back clipper thing is like at the back. So she tries to grab it and like fix it for me, but she accidentally like touches my neck slightly, and I jump, and I was like, oh, and she was like, oh, sorry, I was just trying to fix your chain. And I said, like, for some reason I said to her, like, no, don't, because I hate being touched. And one of the things you should know about me, especially if you're an attractive woman, is my love language is touch. So send me a DM, by the way, if you are an attractive woman. But basically, I actually like being touched. That's like how I feel love and I give love. But I was so awkward that I randomly even said a weird lie, and I literally jumped when a girl was touching me. To now I feel pretty confident around girls, and so I want to get you to this point. So this is the promise for this guide that we're going through today. I'll teach you how to stop being awkward around women so that you can actually attract them, because it's not a good experience being awkward and shy and nervous around women, because you just don't really show the best version of you, which is a really good point to make. Like, there's a better version of you that maybe no woman has ever seen just yet, because you've been super nervous with them. And so if we just tackle this one problem, we'll get you to the next stage of your like dating life, where you'll be able to show more of the real confident version of you. So my quick introduction, my name is Hamza, and I help men improve themselves so that they can attract a great woman. Subscribe right now if you're interested in that. I've noticed that videos sometimes won't be shown to you unless you actually subscribe. So make sure you go and subscribe, and you'll be more likely to see videos like this on your homepage, which is, you know, full of education instead of all the clickbait and all the fucking stupid thumbnails and all that. You've just got like an educational guide. So make sure you go subscribe right now. So there's 7 things we're going to cover today. 7 things you can do to destroy awkwardness around women. Number 1, don't watch porn or see any sexual content of her. That's an important extra part there. Many guys already know not to watch porn, but a lot of women post like softcore porn on social media these days. A lot of women post like provocative pictures and reels and stories and stuff of them, and that can actually fuck you up as well. So we'll cover that. We'll cover replacing, not just getting them off the pedestal, but replacing them off the pedestal. You've probably heard, like, you know, it's a problem with guys. We put women on the pedestal, and that makes it so that they can only look down upon us. Well, not many people say that it's not about taking women off the pedestal. It's about replacing them and putting something else on the pedestal. And I'll talk about like the things we can put there, like God, family, and our work and our goals. The third thing we'll talk about is speaking to more women, because this is your self-improvement. There's so many little, no offense to them, like, you know, little losers who get onto self-improvement. They watch videos like this, and they're in this like Sigma male grind where they're like, yeah, I don't care about speaking to girls. When truthfully, that is a part of your development as a man, and you shouldn't overlook that. So I'll tell you, like, in weird, specific steps on how to speak to more women. Then the 4th point you can do is copy sexy men. So I'll show you the 2 guys that I personally copied and imitated to get better with girls. We'll go over physically relaxing. So what's something you can do in 5 seconds to make you better with girls, as long as you remember to do it. We'll go over mentally relaxing. What's something you can do every single day to make you better with girls when you go and approach them. And finally, we'll go over leveling up as a man, increasing your status so that you get more respect from other men and you get more attraction from women. This will take you way longer, but it's like it's like life as a man is just about leveling up. And so we'll cover this as well. Firstly, there's a link in the top of the description. If you just want to go have a look, it'll stand out more than normal. That's a guide on everything you need to get girls in 2024. And I really think you'll like that. So you can click and open that link right now, or just remember this and then watch it after you finish watching this video here. So there's 7 things you can do to destroy awkwardness around women. And we're going to go over this first one, which is don't watch porn or see any sexual content of her. Watching porn will make you act in a weird, hungry way when you're with her. You probably know this, right? If you're someone who consistently watches porn and you've never had a time where you haven't watched porn, then you've probably never seen the version of you that isn't like this sort of like hungry, like desperate guy. But if you've had periods where you haven't watched porn, you probably will know that like you come across in way more of just a normal human being kind of way. So if you just can trust me on this, if you've never had that before, when you haven't seen or watched any porn for months, you just act way more normal and attractive around women. And the reason why is probably because you stop feeling like a beta male loser. There's people online who say like, oh yeah, women can smell the retention on you. They can smell if you haven't ejaculated. I don't really think so. I don't believe anything's like that serious. I just think that when you watch porn, you don't feel good about yourself. Then when you go and trying to speak to a girl, since you don't feel good about yourself, you come across in a worse way. And so when you stop watching porn, not only does it like, stop frying your dopamine receptors and everything, it's also like an accomplishment in the modern day. It's like a rite of passage. And so suddenly you feel more confident and happy about yourself. It's a good accomplishment to go through. And so the next time you go speak to a girl when it's been weeks since you've watched porn, you'll feel like you're on this upward trend, this momentum, and you'll naturally speak to her in a more confident, attractive way when you like yourself more because you've had this accomplishment of not watching porn. So how do you stop watching porn? There's different methods. The one that worked for me personally was progressively deloading. So I tried everything. I tried the easy peasy method. I tried like no fap and everything. All of that just felt like, in my opinion, like the loser method. And so this is the method of basically the bodybuilder, which is that if we go to the gym, trying to stop watching porn is kind of like trying to hit a PR in the gym, like hitting 100 kg bench press. And so many guys will try and do like the loser no fap streak bullshit where they're trying to get to like day 90 or they're trying to quit porn or anything. And they'll get to like, 2 days and then they'll relapse. 2 days, then they'll relapse. And they'll be like, oh man, why do I keep relapsing? Why can't I just get to day 90? That's like a little skinny kid coming into the gym and saying like, why can't I just bench press 100 kg? Well, it's like, yeah, well, you're not really supposed to right now because, you're kind of weak. And so if you start with 20 kg, the empty barbell, and you start increasing it over time, eventually you'll get there. And so with porn, it's kind of like the exact opposite with porn and masturbation. Instead of thinking that you can just randomly go to zero the moment you heard about nofap, which is what most young guys assume and then get so upset that they can't quit, think to yourself, wait, I should just progressively deload. So if, for example, you fap like once per day, so on average like 30 days a month, make it like 27 days this month, then make it 24, then make it 21. And then within like 7 months, you basically quit forever. And it's not sexy because I literally just told you, yeah, it'll take 7 months to destroy this addiction. But I see so many guys struggle with this because they're just trying to get to like the streak and to fap and watch porn 0 times immediately. And it's just like, it's too heavy. It's like, it's being in the gym and there's just weight that's just too heavy. And it starts getting like weirdly like obsessive and sad and makes you neurotic. Like imagine if I commanded you that the next time you go to the gym, you have to bench press a weight that's too heavy for you. Imagine if I commanded you to do that. You'd get weirdly anxious, wouldn't you? You'd be like so like uncertain about yourself. That's how guys who are on nofap start to act. And I don't think nofap does people like good, honestly. Like, should you fap? No. Should you watch porn? No. Should you go on to nofap, like the actual sort of culture of nofap? Fuck no. I think it's horrible for you. So I think progressively deloading, counting on average how many times you fap, like, just guessing, and then reducing it by like 20% every single month on month. Within like 3 to 5 months, you're at a point where you've maybe fap like twice a month, which is honestly fine. You don't need to be like one of these guys who are telling you like to get to like day 90 or some bullshit. As an older guy, I'm telling you right now, a lot of what's spoken about in the nofap YouTube space, a lot of it is bullshit. They say it so extreme because it makes you more emotional, so you're more likely to continue watching their videos. They don't make videos to help you, they make videos to get views. So just be careful because it's quite dark, like the nofap industry. They're not as nice as they'd like to make themselves seem. So progressively deload is how you stop watching porn. Don't look at her sexual content on her Instagram, and if you're a little bit younger, she's got like Snapchat or TikTok or something. Lots of girls post provocative, like sexual content, and if you look at it, something weird will happen. If you imagine there's a girl you like in school or in work, and she's posting like thirst traps on Instagram, your primal caveman brain will get all weird because it's kind of like she's presented herself for you to fuck. When you think about it, when you see a girl who's like shaking her ass and showing her titties and everything on social media, it's like your brain, your primal brain will believe that she's like, you're about to fuck her. That's why your dick will get harder when you see this kind of content, because your primal brain will literally think, oh, okay, she wants me to fuck her, so I'll fuck her. But that's not what she's actually done. She's just made digital content, not really for you, but for, you know, the mass of simps who will watch this. Then when you speak to her in real life, you'll try too hard and you'll come across in this weird way to her because you've like progressed the relationship more than she has. Do you see? Like, she's made content for everyone, but your brain has seen this content and started to think, okay, I'm at the point of, you know, like this relationship where I can see her sexual and I can get close to fucking her. When you then go and speak to her in person, you're not actually at that point of the relationship. She just made mass content for everyone, but you'll find it harder to not be awkward when you've seen that kind of content of a girl and you've fantasized about her, because it's like you've kind of like set this expectation for where you guys are in the relationship, and whereas she's still down here. She just made a little thirst trap, little Instagram reel where she's shaking her ass or something, but your brain has believed like, oh yeah, we are getting sexual, and so that makes you more awkward because suddenly you'll go up to her and your brain and your body will almost expect a certain level of connection that she's not showing, and so you'll seem like you're kind of like trying too hard, pushing too much. So the general rule is like, just don't fucking see any sexual content online, like whether it's porn of other people or it's of her as well. And this also includes like honestly nudes as well, which I know many young guys are obsessed with. I don't know what it is about young guys, they just fucking love shit like nudes and porn and stuff. I swear, once you like start a business and you get to like 22, 23 years old, a lot of this falls off. You can still be like a 23-year-old loser, but at that point I'm really hoping that you've started to make some progress in life. But if you haven't, then obviously that's what these guides are for. But like by the time I got to like 23, 24 years old, this stuff just didn't interest me anymore. Like I wanted to be the guy who was deep throating this girl, not the guy who was like jacking his little dick off. It's not little, bro. Like, not the guy who is jacking his massive dick off whilst like she's trying to, you know, she's sending me some pictures or I'm watching Instagram posts or something of her. Like, I just didn't want to be the fucking loser. And so I decided, like I vowed when I was like 19 years old to not be like a masturbator wanker anymore. And maybe if you're however old you are, you should probably make that vow for yourself as well. So how do you stop viewing sexual content of her if she posts that kind of stuff? Honestly, just don't follow girls who post thirst traps. Like, there's no benefit for you to do that. You might think like, oh, well, you know, I might get into a relationship with her. You probably don't want to get into a relationship with a girl who posts the thirst traps. And you might think like, oh, well, I might fuck her. Well, yeah, so does like the 500 guys, 1,000 guys who follow her right now anyway. And so she's stringing you all along, and all of you think eventually you'll end up fucking her. It's like you're all little donkeys and she's got the carrot on a stick. And what's interesting is she's getting like fucking pounded by the guy who doesn't even follow her. There's all like the real fucking G's knows this. The girl who's posting the thirst traps, the guy who she's obsessed with usually doesn't even follow her back. That's like the real thing. So if you're the guy who's following her, you've shown what like dynamic you're getting into, which is basically that you're the simpy guy who's trying to get her attention. And you're sure going to stand out amongst the 1,000 guys who follow her or even more. So just don't follow those girls because it's not good for you. It's not even good for them. So why even fucking get involved with this? Fuck it and take the social L, because if this is, for example, a girl you work with or a girl in your school, take the social L to stop your addiction. Who gives a fuck if she asks like, why did you follow me? Think of something to say and just fucking say it. And if anything, when she asks something like this, if she, you know, she's someone you know from like school or something, honestly, she'll be kind of more into you when she asks you a question like this, because you'll stand out. All the other guys are like, you know, harassing her, following her, writing messages and stuff, replying to her stories. You're the one guy where she's seeing, wait, why did he unfollow me? And that's, you're sticking in her brain a lot more than the 17 Indian guys who are saying like, hey, baby, like, I love you. Like, just sending her a message, I love you. So we've covered the first one. Stop watching porn. Don't see any sexual content of her, and you'll feel less awkward around women. The next one is replacing them from the pedestal. So we hear about this a lot in like the men's space, but I don't think a lot of influencers discuss it really well. Lonely men put women on the pedestal because they have nothing else interesting in their lives. And I want you to be honest right now. Does this look like your life? You wake up, you get ready, you like go to work, school, whatever. You like stay on your computer, your devices. Maybe you go to the gym and then you go back on your computer or your phone or something. Then you go to sleep. Most guys, this is what their life looks like. And it's no wonder you'd put a woman on the pedestal because she's the most interesting thing that's happening in your life. But it's also no wonder that she's not into you because she wants to date the kind of guy who's not got this boring ass fucking life that every other guy has. This life isn't special, right? It's fun. Like, you know, like this is what my life looks like these days when I'm on my monk mode period and I'm just fucking waking up and I'm grinding. But it's like, I do it with a smile on my face because this is what I want to do. Most guys do it with like this depressed feeling of like, you know, that you're in school or work or something. So that it's kind of like, if it's by choice and you love this life, then by all means it's fine. But most guys aren't very happy this way. And most girls don't really want to date a guy who's doing this like low key, unsuccessful life where he's working some shit job or he's just in school or something. And then the only fun thing you do is go to the gym. Most girls would prefer to date a guy who's living a fun life because they want to enter the fun. They don't want to be the most fun thing in your life. So you put something else on the pedestal like your goals or God or family, and naturally you'll stop being awkward around women because they'll be pushed off the pedestal. When you really care about your work and your goals, you stop putting women on the pedestal because you literally care less about dating and sex than your purpose. So if you really, really care about like some goal that you've set, like, you know, making money in your business or self-improvement, or you've recently gotten more into your faith and you've become Muslim or Christian, and you put that on the pedestal, naturally you'll be less awkward around girls because you'll have less of that neediness of, you know, worshipping them like most guys do. Most guys are really bad with women just because this is the life they live in. So when they have a girl who's finally replying back to them on text, it's like the most interesting, exciting, novelty thing that they've got so far. When you've got like, for example, a successful business, or you've got like a family, or you've got like some goal that means a lot to you, suddenly it's like you have less bandwidth to really care about girls. And in a weird way, that makes you more attractive to them because they want to join a fun life. They don't want to be the focus of your life. They don't want to be like number one in your life. So go ahead and try and find some like goals or some work that you really care about. How do you find the thing to replace women from the pedestal? Well, here's a few questions you could journal, or you could just answer in like the comments below, or just think about. Ask yourself what work you'd do for free if you were already a billionaire. This is a question that will find your purpose and the kind of impact you want to have on the world. What kind of work task would you do for free if you were already a billionaire? Like, what kind of impact would you want to have on the world? Another question you can ask is, what would you do if you knew you were going to fail? Not if you couldn't fail. This is a really specifically worded question. What would you do if you knew you were going to fail? 100% chance you're going to fail. Because then if you knew you were going to fail, you'd be optimizing for the enjoyment, right? A lot of people will do something they don't enjoy for the hope that it pays off. But this question will help you find the thing that you actually want to do right now. Because if you're going to fail either way, you may as well obviously go and do the more fun thing. So this question actually means a lot to me because that's how I've been able to like refine and understand more about myself. And I really like teaching and learning. I really like bodybuilding. So I do the things that even if I was going to fail, I've enjoyed them along the way. So I hope that both of these questions can help you like try and find some direction in life. Let's say you get some ideas and you're like, you know what, like the work I'd do is like, I'd go in like, I really love dogs. And even if I was a billionaire, I'd go and like work in like a dog shelter because it'd be so cool to like every day wake up and, you know, rescue some dog and clean them up and everything. Or maybe for you, it's like, oh, I want to educate the world. I really think health is important. So I want to go and be like a student of health and go learn all the latest research and then go and spread that in easy, digestible ways so that people around the world can improve their health. That's the kind of work that you would want to be putting on the pedestal. And naturally, when you find that hard work, you'll just have less bandwidth to like give a shit about girls in a really good way, because now you'll have something else that you're focused on. So let's say you found something that you think, okay, that could probably be my thing. You don't need to be 100%. Many guys aren't, but let's say you found something that could be, like for example, your business. Then you discipline yourself to start to sacrifice and align as much of your life as possible to this work. So whatever work you've thought of here, the goal of manhood, like a lot of fulfillment for most men, seems to come when you really sacrifice a lot and you align as much as possible of your life to that work that means a lot to you. So you might find that this might be the most fulfilling life that you've had. So this is my monk mode lifestyle that I'm in right now, where I'm getting the most out of myself for my work and I'm really enjoying my life. Like, for example, I eat a very simple diet. I'm not really spending that much time with friends or with family or with girls. I wake up and I just work on videos like this where I'm trying to educate men on, some of the lessons that I've learned in life. And I wake up at like 4 a.m. I go to sleep at like 7 p.m. For many people, that'd be a horrible, depressing, awful life. For me, I genuinely really enjoy it because the most fulfilling part of it is I notice myself like reaching closer and closer to my potential in terms of my work. Like when I notice that, oh shit, I've had a really good day where I've gotten a lot done and I impress myself, I feel so like proud of it because I'm like, wow, like this is such a good experience. Like this is the hardest I've ever worked in my life. And I'm not going to continue this forever. Obviously, there'll be a time when I'm like 30, 35, 40 years old and I, won't have the energy for this. I'll have different priorities. But I'll always remember that like I pushed almost as hard as I possibly could do in terms of how hard I could work. And that'll be like a season of my life that I'll always remember. And during this season, naturally, women are not going to be high up on the pedestal because I've put other things as the priority. So first you start with finding like some kind of purpose, some mission that means a lot to you. And then you just try and grind for it as hard as possible. And when you do that, naturally, you'll realize that you care less about women. And when you care less about women, you're often more attractive because you just are less awkward and you're overthinking a lot less as well. So we've covered the second thing, replace them off the pedestal. This is the interesting one. Speak to more women. This is self-improvement. So many guys will disagree with this and they'll say like, no, don't think about girls. Just make money. Just make money. But truthfully, I really do think a lot of growth will come if you actually just get into more conversations with girls, especially if this is in an area you want to improve in. Like if you clicked on this video, most likely you wanted to actually attract more girls. So this is actually a goal of yours. So honor that. Get into as many conversations with women as you can. Like I'm on this monk mode period where I'm just focused on work. But when I'm out in public, I'm still going to go in like cold approach and speak to girls because I just think it's really good for you as a man to be integrated into society and be able to like speak to the common, like, to the person next to you, the person who's like a part of your community. So don't overlook this in this mode of like, oh, but I'm not ready. I don't care about girls, because you'll get ready and you'll start caring more when you actually are good at this. So get into the flow of like just going to speak to more girls. This will develop you more than like 10 workouts or making more money, because a lot of the things that you do most likely is kind of like in your comfort zone. Like it's not that hard to go to the gym anymore, is it? It's like, it might have been months ago, but I'm assuming you're the kind of guy who's been going to the gym for a while, that it's kind of like fun. So it's like, that's going to the gym is in your comfort zone. Going to cold approach a girl or getting into more conversations with girls, that's the thing that's out of your comfort zone. So this will actually develop you more than you realize. A lot of guys will say like, oh, this is a distraction. Don't talk to girls up until you're like rich or something. And I'm telling you right now, like they're usually the people who have that kind of mindset, they're usually like either autistic as fuck and they have no idea like what the hell is going on, or they're basically like chads and former degenerates who don't need to speak to girls right now because they've got it. Like, like when you see like attractive guys say like, oh yeah, don't think about girls, they get to say that because they already fucked a lot of women. So if they take like 3 months off dating, it's not going to affect them the same way that it might affect you when this is, one, your goal, but two, also something that isn't like locked down for you. Like I've had a lot of experiences with girls that if I go and spend like a few months not dating, I'm fine. Like literally I'll go on the first date after a month or 2 months of not dating at all, and I'll still end up fucking that girl literally within 3 hours of being on the date. It's like that's my comfort zone now. It's not difficult for me to do that. So I can go onto monk mode and say like, yeah, I don't care about girls. I'm not going to think about girls. But for you, if this is an area of improvement and it's part of your goals, then it actually makes sense for you to speak to more girls, and it'll also make you less awkward around women. Why? Because you're just getting more experience. So how do you actually do this? Well, there's 3 ways to go up and speak to more women. You can give them a compliment, you can let them into your inner dialogue, and you can ask them an innocent question. I've done a full breakdown of these 3 ways you can go speak to women that you don't know in the full guide to cold approaching women video that's on my channel. You can just go find that and just go watch that. It's like a 40-minute guide on like how to go speak to women that you don't know on the street. So the idea is just go speak to women everywhere, including guys as well. Go to like work, school, gym, restaurants, cafes, everywhere you go. Try and get as social as possible. Speak to the person next to you, and particularly go speak to the women. And it doesn't need to be a flirty conversation. Just chatting about normal stuff will still develop you. But if you do want to push for the flirty conversation because there's a woman that you're attracted to, by all means do that, and you will get less awkward around women that in the future, because you'll get more comfortable around being with women. Most guys are just quite awkward around girls, especially once you get out of school, because there's almost no reason for you to be around many women. But when you start speaking to way more women and you start flirting with girls in the gym and you start, like speaking to the waitress and just asking like normal questions, like, how are you today? You start learning like the kind of mannerisms that are attractive. You start understanding how to behave like normal in public, which quite frankly, lots of men don't know because they don't go outside. Again, this most likely, if you're not going to bullshit, this is probably what your life looks like. And I'm telling you, if this is what your life looks like, you are going to be awkward around girls because you speaking to a girl is going to be the most exciting highlight of your entire week. And if you only speak to like one girl a week or one girl a month, and you've got like one girl you're texting who you've got all your eggs in that basket, you are going to come across as awkward, needy, nervous. But if suddenly you started to speak to 5 girls every single day, you'd be so much less awkward because you'd be less needy and it'd be less significant and you'd have more practice. So go ahead and go speak to more women. I give you my blessing to do this, because a lot of people in this like masculine self-improvement grind kind of space will tell you like, ignore girls, bro. You don't need to go and like speak to girls. I'm telling you right now, like, you most likely wouldn't be watching me on YouTube or considering buying my products if I was a virgin, if I didn't speak to girls. So it's interesting. I've even said this to Muslims. Like, I've got Muslim students inside of my program where we teach a lot of things of like how to become a better man, how to increase testosterone, how to speak to women, how to like date, how to fuck and everything. And obviously you can like follow that advice without needing to be a degenerate. And I've even said it to my Muslim students. I said to them, like, you probably wouldn't be here buying my paid product if I was a virgin, would you? And they stopped. Like, one guy stopped and he was like, yeah, you're right, actually. So he's not even a degenerate at all. But basically, like, we respect the man who's went out and got an experience with women, because it is like a skill to be good with women. It's a skill to be able to like talk to them. And most men are just too afraid of that. So this is your like wake up call to start like just getting into the discomfort of speaking to girls and being okay with getting rejected, being okay with mumbling your words and fucking up, because we've all basically had to go through that. Let's move on to the 4th point, which is copying sexy men. This is the fastest way I've ever improved with women. Find guys that you look up to, watch their mannerisms with women, and then imitate that with your own style. So I've done this majorly with 2 people. I've done it with my friend Levi from university, who's like this cool black guy that I used to go to like parties with. And I would notice his like, he was like social a lot longer than I was. Basically, I only stopped being like a loser when I was like 19 years old. He was like cool in high school and everything. I didn't know him in high school, but he spoke about the experience. And so he already had like years of experience of like, going out, speaking to girls, drinking and partying and stuff. So I kind of needed like someone to kind of show me the way a little bit. And I just noticed his mannerisms, like when we'd be speaking to girls or we'd be going to parties, of just how cool and like, the way he'd behave, the way he'd talk, the way he'd like move around, he'd speak to people. It was like, it broke so many paradigms of like what I assumed you had to be like in a certain situation, like when you meet a girl or when you go to a party. And so that helped me a lot, because the next time I would go to a party, I would slightly like copy what he did, but in my own kind of style. And it would work so much faster than me being sat here and watching a guide like this. So this advice I'm giving you kind of devalues this entire video I'm making, because this page right now would be more valuable. Like, and the same was with this guy here, Joe Delaney. He's a fitness YouTuber, and I followed him a long time ago, and he posted some videos where he's kind of like a party boy. He's going out to like parties and clubs, and he's going on dates with girls. And the way he'd speak to them, it kept on breaking beliefs for me, because I was like, oh shit, like just something occurred, and I was like, oh, you could speak to a girl like that, and that's actually kind of attractive. I'll try that next time. And so then I'd say like either the same thing he said or in my style, or the same kind of like mannerisms, and it would work so well so quickly that from that point I was like, oh shit, I don't care how lame it sounds, I'm always going to be okay with like copying people, because it's just so fast to improve. And what's interesting, this is a completely side note, but I actually blew up on YouTube because I just copied people, and no one really like fully really knows this, but I copied like hundreds of videos, and that's what made me blow up, because there was videos that were performing well, and I just copied and pasted the title. I didn't really copy the advice or the content of the video, but I used to copy and paste like titles for YouTube videos. And when I was doing that a lot, I started to get like 5,000-10,000 subscribers per day. So copying just universally is such a good strategy, and artists know this really well. There's a phrase which is steal like an artist, where basically you just go and copy, and like naturally when you copy someone, you don't copy them 100% because it's your perspective of them. So suddenly it doesn't feel like a complete and utter copy plagiarism, because you've automatically added in your assessments, like your view of the thing that you copied, which means that you'll never have like a perfect one-to-one copy, which therefore still makes it unique anyway. But you've at least started with like the baseline, which was well. So why this works is because it's just so much faster to see a guy who's in action with women and then to imitate that than it is to start at ground zero trying to figure out everything from a blank state or blank slate. So isn't this inauthentic? It kind of is, but here's the truth. Like either way, you're going to find your style over time. This makes it faster to find your style, in my opinion, rather than fucking up and doing weird shit that, although could be seen as authentic, doesn't actually get you what you want. Like I don't feel inauthentic now or even back then. It was more that I'd get inspiration and be like, oh, okay, so you can randomly like shout in a party. Like, you know, my friend did that once, right? Loads of times. You can add, like, that was a belief that I walked home with one time, which was like, oh, like in a party, you don't have to be speaking quietly on the side. You can randomly just make like fucking loud noises and shout and like someone starts dancing. Like imagine if a girl started dancing, my friend Levi would just shout and go like, hey, like that. And I didn't realize that that's something you could do up until he did it. Then the next times that like I was in the same kind of situation and I would do something similar that he did, and I noticed that that was like a good thing to do, you know, by the body language of people laughing and smiling and stuff. Then I was like, okay, like it doesn't feel inauthentic that I did that. I just didn't know that you could do that before I had seen him. So it's like, I don't think it's like this is inauthentic. It's just that you become aware of things that you could do that you didn't know you could have done before. So you take it as it is. Maybe you don't want to copy, but I actually have found a lot of value in doing this, so I'm going to keep doing that. So how do you exactly do this? You find a role model, whether it's someone you watch like their content or it's someone you know in real life, and you see how they behave next to women. So it's a guy who makes videos with his girl, or, you know, he's cold approaching women, or it's like someone you know in real life and you go to parties or you go to like cold approach with him or something. You go to the gym with him and you notice how he speaks to girls. And then you just copy some parts of that next time you're around women. And you'll notice that if the role model was good and he actually got girls, that you'll be way more likely to get similar results as well. So that's the fourth part done. Now we're on physical relaxation. Nice picture of me in my villa in Thailand. This was probably the most beautiful place I've been to in my life. This is Koh Samui in Thailand. So the biggest tip out of this entire guide, the fastest progress you can make with women, is take a deep breath. Like I say that literally because I say this quite often now, that this phrase of like take a deep breath, people's brain just turns off and they're like, yeah, whatever, it's kind of good advice, I've heard it before. But often, like for me personally, I'll forget to do this. Like I have the advice of like take the deep breath and I'll read it, but I won't do it. Like be honest, when you saw that, did you actually take the deep breath, or did you just keep listening and getting ready to like skip this section because you know this piece of advice? Because if you did take a deep breath right now with me right now, you probably find that instantly you feel like 10, 20% more presence. Mark my words, when you take a deep breath just before you go speak to a girl, that conversation will go so much better. You know how sometimes like you have a conversation with a girl that's just whack and you mumble your words and you fuck up and you literally like stutter or something. And all the times you have a conversation with a girl where you feel like you said everything right and you feel like she's really into you, like surprisingly into you. Usually that's because you've been physically relaxed and you just come across so much better. And so if you force a deep breath before you go speak to a girl, you might be so surprised of how powerful it is that on tap you're able to activate that sexy version of you where girl, like that's the version of you that the girl ends up, you know, giving you her number and eventually like getting with you. So that's just the one tip I'll give you to physically relax. And actually another tip I'll give you is don't even think about the alpha male body language. Like there's a lot of YouTube videos that talk about body language, and I actually think that they're all just bakwas, like just stupid. You don't need to think about your body language. Just do the deep breath and you'll automatically get into an authentic, natural, confident body language. Your body language is just a reflection of how you feel inside. And so if you feel tense inside and you fake like this like alpha male, big, you know, confident body language, you'll reek of like inauthenticity, you'll reek of like fakeness, and anyone who's at least a little bit intelligent will be able to pick up on that and actually not want to spend time with you because it symbolizes like dishonesty. So don't even think about body language ever again, and instead just think about feeling better inside of you. And the single greatest thing you can do for that is take a deep breath. So that one's done. And then we're on mentally relax. This one's quite simple as well. Meditate long term. So long term, just meditate 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. You can use the apps that you can find on your phone. An app that I I used to use a lot was called Medito. I don't really use that one anymore. I just set like the normal iPhone timer, 5 minutes, and just focus on your breath. And as soon as you notice that your focus has gone and you're randomly thinking about, some memory or something, literally just bring your focus back to the breath. And that's like one rep, like one bicep curl for the brain. It's the act of bringing your focus once it left again, back to the breath, back to the breath, back to the breath. That's where the gains are made. You don't meditate and think that your mind is supposed to stay focused on the breath. Your mind is literally like the point of meditation is for your mind to wander, and then your act of meditation, like your task, is to bring the wandering mind back. It's not like you should never be pissed off that you aren't focused. So many people meditate, and it's like I'm so surprised that like no one's ever taught meditation in like a way that the normal person understands. I swear to God, like my meditation advice is so powerful, but I've never heard any of the people on the apps or websites or whatever talk about it. It's like meditation is not supposed to be you being focused on your breath. It's you returning the attention back to the breath. It's like bringing back the wandering mind. So many people will say like, oh, but I tried to meditate, but I couldn't stay focused on the breath. It didn't really work for me. No, that's the point. Your mind's supposed to wander because of course it will. But the point of meditation is doing reps of realizing your mind has wandered and then bringing it back, bringing it back, bringing it back, reeling it in, reeling it in, reeling in like the monkey. That's the point. It's like pulling the monkey, then he runs away again, then pull the monkey back, then he runs away again. It's the pulling. That's the point of meditation. So the next time you meditate and you notice, oh man, I can't stay focused, you should smile and think, oh yeah, I can't stay focused. That's the point. That's like the whole point is I'm trying to bring it back. And the more times you pull back the monkey, you bring it back to the breath, the more reps you're getting for your attention span and you're more mentally relaxing. Along with this, visualization is very strong. So if I'm about to cold approach a girl, by the way, there's only two things that I do. I don't try and think of what to say. I'll do one massive deep breath, just like we spoke about here. Then what I'll do is I'll flash like an image of her in my mind, of her acting in quite like it's a very particular way. Like this works for me, my personality, but like quite like sexually intimidated. So I've had like a bunch of times where girls will tell me like how they felt when we were first about to have sex. And there's almost like a face that multiple girls have pulled where they're almost like slightly like scared, but like turned on at the same time. When they're telling me about like what it was like to like have sex with me for the first time or something. And when I'm speaking to a new girl or when I'm about to go cold approach a new girl, I'll almost put that same kind of mannerism, like body language expression on her so that it's like it's already put me in the body language and the emotional inner state that I've already gotten her and she's already into me the same way that previous girls have been. So you can try and copy that. If you don't have that memory bank of girls that you've gotten beforehand telling you what it was like, then just visualize the girl that you're about to speak to, whether it's a girl from school or some girl in the gym that you're about to go cold approach. Visualize her just like being happy that you spoke to her. Visualize her maybe being a bit turned on afterwards because you spoke to her in a confident, sexy way, something like that. Just see like the way to visualize is basically just like make like an AI generated image in your brain. Just make the image pop up, enjoy the image for a few seconds, and then go and speak to her. And the final mental relaxation tip is actually just to reframe nervousness for excitement. So a lot of the times you're about to go cold approach a girl or go speak to a girl in school and, try and like spit some game at her, you'll be quite nervous. And then if you tell yourself the story that you're nervous, you'll then perform worse because you'll be like, oh, damn, I'm nervous. That's a bad thing. So anytime I feel nervous, I often will say it out loud or to myself or to the person next to me, I'm excited. Usually that's a fucking lie, by the way. Usually when I say that, it's like, I kind of know it's a lie, but for some reason it works anyway. So that's just a weird tip. Like you can literally just tell yourself, no, it's excitement. I'm excited to go cold approach her. I'm going to go cold approach her right now. And for some reason it does actually work to help to like make you better and less awkward in that situation. And the final one is leveling up as a man and getting to a good level of your own self-improvement, the money you're making in your career or business, your confidence, attractiveness, and everything else. So as you level up, your status increases. Status is your position in the social hierarchy. When your status is significantly above the woman's, you won't be nervous at all. So how do you increase your status? Well, you do it through self-improvement. You set goals and you work hard on them. Maybe the goal is to build an aesthetic body or make money from a business or heal trauma or improve social skills. You do things that level you up in different areas that you care about, and naturally your status will go up because you've started to progress more and more and more and you've achieved more things. And that just means that you're higher up in the social hierarchy. And when you're higher than a woman in the social hierarchy in terms of status and value that you bring, naturally you'll be less awkward around them because you'll be less needy and less like like careful and you'll just be more present around them. So this is the unsexy answer because it takes months and years to increase your status through self-improvement and everything. But it's the only true way to lower nerves around women. And this is such an interesting question. Ask yourself honestly, would you still be nervous and awkward around a 1 out of 10 woman? Think about it. If there was a 1 out of 10, like a full-on, like just really not attractive girl in front of you, would you be awkward around her? Probably not. Probably not, right? So it's interesting that it's based on her and also our, like the difference between her status and ours. So imagine you became like a giga chad rich motherfucker. Suddenly you're not even awkward around really beautiful women. So even if you didn't follow the previous tips, if you just became higher in status because of achievements, you would actually become less awkward. This is the long-term play, and this is probably the most powerful one because you just feel less awkward around even like beautiful women, even high-quality women, because of how much you've leveled yourself up. So at the start of this guide, I promised you that I'd teach you how to start cold approaching. Oh shit, this is the previous page. I didn't change that. Well, at the start of this guide, I promised you the 7 things you can do to destroy awkwardness around women. We went through every single one of these, check them all off. Don't watch porn or see any sexual content of her. Replace them off the pedestal. Speak to more women. This is self-improvement. Copy sexy men. Physically relax, mentally relax, level up as a man. We've covered everything that I promised to you. And one last time, the top link in the description is everything you need to get girls in 2024. So once you've learned everything today of like not being awkward, now it's time to actually attract those women properly. And so that top link in the description will help you to do that. Go to that link right now, go open it up and go watch that video. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.